This is Sydney.
And this is Chloe.
And this is Green Room, where a bunch of pastors' kids get to talk about what church is like and our experiences.
All right, everybody, welcome to a new episode of Green Room. And we have a very special guest today, which I'm very excited to talk to. But you will notice we are a little bit tight in here. This is a studio for two people, but we wanted to do it in person. So we kind of squeezed everybody in. So apologies for any weird camera angles. But I am so excited that we have Miss Shiloah Bickle here with us today. And we have some really great stuff coming up. And I'm really excited to have you. So first off, just kind of give everybody a little bit of who you are, kind of where you grew up. And then we'll dive into the fun questions.
Yeah, I am Shiloah Bickle. I am Mike Bickle's granddaughter, as everybody knows me. Yeah, I grew up in Kansas City, some in Vanuatu, which is a little island in the South Pacific.
How long were you there?
We were there for we moved there when I was probably I would say 5 or 6 years maybe.
Dang.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
So
yeah.
Cool. Holy cow.
So we were there for a little bit, but we came back to Kansas City, so.
That's cool.
Yep.
Do you know why you guys came back? Was there
we weren't planning on moving back. My mom's brother passed away and we came back for a funeral. Yeah, and we just never went back. We had somebody sell our house out there, all of our belongings,
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we didn't even know we were moving back at the time.
Oh, that's so hard.
Yeah.
So you're like a real third culture kid then.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, I've been there, done that. Yep. For sure.
Yeah. I'll have to send you a podcast that I've listened to recently about third culture kids that has been really helpful.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, send it to me.
Yes.
That's cool.
So what year did you come back to Kansas City?
We came back in, I think I had just turned 11 or 12.
Okay.
So
10-ish years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And your dad had
he was doing
business,
some
minerals,
some kind of mining something. He was mining some big piece of property. I don't really know what was going on there.
Yeah, that's all I ever knew.
Yeah, that's all I knew too. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
You're I got to swim in on an island. So
yeah.
Yeah.
There you
pretty
go.
much.
Yep. That's
Valid.
about it.
That's fair. That's fair. So then you come back. You're 11, 12, and then you go to school. Right.
Mm-hmm.
What was life like when you transitioned back?
It was weird. It's kind of hard to remember, to be honest. It's so long ago. I can't really remember, to be honest.
That's fair. No, that's so real.
But when you came back, you kind of re-entered the IHOP world.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
assuming.
Yeah. Yep.
Went to
and
the schools.
everyone was they kind of knew me, but they didn't, because they're you're the girl that comes back every summer for camp.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. Well, and then that was around the time. Were you already in middle school?
I was in.
Was I already there, or did we both start at the same time?
Who was right before you?
Josh Thompson.
Okay, I think I was there for Josh's last year, and then you came.
Okay, got it. Cool.
Do you want to give a little context to what that is?
Yeah. Sorry, that sounds very obvious. So I was the middle school. I think I'm not clear on what my title technically was. I think it was director.
Like anybody ever is.
Yeah, I'm there was no organization, but I was the director basically, but assumed the pastoral role of middle school, and then also helped with high school. So I did I think it was Tuesday night we did, and we did all of our all of our teachings and small groups and all that good stuff. But you were in my small group for years. We did it for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed. I'm wow, we lasted a while.
And it was
years. So fun. I found,
and it was kind of the same group of people.
It was the same girls. I think the whole time. I know that one of them was in and out a little bit, but all of you guys were there the whole time. And I found a video on Instagram the other day of us in my little PT Cruiser, and
oh my gosh, singing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I love that.
I looked at it. I was this is adorable. I was
we were
we're
insane.
all so young and just living our best lives. I remember I was trying to get you guys like out of your shell. And I was like, okay, well, if I act stupid,
Then they
it'll
have
probably
permission to
help.
act stupid.
Yeah. And we were singing like, I don't know, Justin Bieber or something.
Oh yeah, for sure, Christmas album.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there we go.
That's amazing.
But yeah, that's like one of my like first memories besides like us giving you Polly Pockets when you were little.
Oh my gosh, yes, the big tub.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that tub was like my
huge.
collection.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was like our like, what do you call it? Our
Inheritance?
Yeah, our inheritance.
Yeah.
Being a missionary kid, that was our inheritance.
There you go. I loved my Polly Pocket collection.
Yeah.
So this is like a super kind of loaded question, but like more high level. What was it like for you growing up in the Bickle family?
Yeah.
Because you are Luke and Ricky's daughter.
Yes, I am. It was very like, the way I would describe it is very like surface level. Like we had fun, but it wasn't like, there was no like deep connection. It was just kind of like, okay, we hang out on holidays and like we're like, so how are you?
Yep.
You know, but it wasn't ever like, there wasn't like a emotional like connection or like, there was no like emotional support. It was just kind of like a little bit of just a surfacey thing.
It's almost like neighbors.
Yeah, kind of. It was just weird. It was like, okay, like we talk to each other once every couple months, but like we don't really talk about anything. It's just like, okay, Shiloh's still in high school, you know, how's school? It's good.
Yep.
Okay, like that's about it. And yeah, for a while like things were not so bumpy, it was like fine. I was like, okay, whatever. I was more preoccupied with other stuff that teenagers are preoccupied with.
As you should be.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I think the dysfunctional parts became a little bit more clear when things got a little bit rougher. It was like, oh, this is maybe not the healthiest way to do things. Yeah. And so it was like kind of like a play pretend, like, okay, everything's good all the time. Like we don't ever acknowledge like things that are going on. Like we're going to sit down at the table and we're all going to smile and we're going to talk, and like nobody says anything about anything.
Wow. Was that like a learned, like something you just picked up on, or were you like told? Did someone like tell you that? Like,
oh no, yeah, it's all like nobody told me like don't say this, but it was like
you could tell.
Yeah, we're all sitting, like we all know what's going on and nobody's saying anything, so I guess I'm not supposed to say anything.
Oh wow. Yeah,
and so it was a weird. And I mean, like, if somebody would say something, you know, my sister, she's a little firecracker. She'd say something every now and then, and it would kind of be like, everyone would kind of be like, oh, like, why would you say that? Or like, you know, somebody would say something to say like, you're kind of like dumb in a way, or say something like
demeaning.
Yeah, it's just like make you feel stupid. And so we just didn't talk.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I freaking love Mariah. She's
yeah,
awesome.
me too.
Anytime she'd open her mouth ever, I was like, oh my God, I love you. But that's so much pressure and confusing. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Especially because it's supposed to be your safest people, like family. And then
I think for me, it was like, I felt so like, I always said this until like a year ago, because I was like, I just feel crazy. I feel crazy all the time. Like, I just feel like I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I'm confused. It was like, I just feel crazy. And it's like, whenever you're like living something, you're living something, and then like you're in a environment where like it's like denying your reality. Like, it's like, nobody is gonna act like this is going on. It's like, am I like losing it right now? Like it just feels like so confusing. Like, am I not supposed to feel the way that I feel? Like, it's just really weird. It's a confusing feeling.
That's really hard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't imagine, because you were like still in high school. Like, that, I mean, like for me as an adult, like coming back when I moved back, and as an adult I was confused, and I thought I was insane, because I was like similar, like seeing things, and I would push back hard, and somehow I never got fired or politely excused. But like, you know, and but I can't imagine like that's your fallback family environment, and you're still like younger, and you gotta respect your parents, and you gotta, you know, like, Oh.
And also the dissonance really of seeing your grandfather on the, stage on Sunday.
Yeah.
And probably the difference that you saw in the home would have been pretty big.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
insane. And it was a long period of time. Like, it was a long time. It was like 4 years before anything. Like, we did this whole like act thing for so long. Like, it was like multiple years until it was like, I feel like I reached a point where I was like, everything was so much, like the trauma was so much that my like body was like freaking out. Like I was getting like hives. I was like, it was crazy. Like, but I was like, I thought I was like sick or something. I was like, what is like wrong with me? Like my hair's like kind of falling out a little bit. Like it was bad. Babe. And so I was like, for a little bit though, I was like, well, this is just like what we have to do, I guess. And hopefully it works out. But I just reached a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. No. I can't do it another day, like another second. Holy so I'm not going to come anymore.
Which is great. And I'm so happy that that's how you got it.
Yeah.
Dang. So, okay. You don't have to like give details at all.
Yeah.
Or we can also just skip over this too. But like when you're referring to like there's a lot of pressures and like weird stuff going on, where are you referring to like situation with your dad, or is it like other things were known at the table?
Okay. At the time, I didn't know anything. I only knew about my dad.
Dang.
Yeah, so I didn't know anything else going on at all. And so, but the whole thing with my dad was like a lot in and of itself.
Oh,
yeah. Totally. And so, and just like before I knew anything about any other situation, I was just like, it was hard even the way that my other family members handled it. Like just, I don't know. It was hard, like, not having anyone to, like, talk to. Yeah. And, like, me and my sister, like, we talk about everything now, but we didn't even acknowledge to each other, like, okay, this is happening until, like, a good couple years in. Like, it was, like, we didn't even know if we should tell each other, like, because we're all not saying anything.
Yeah.
And so it was just this weird, like, unspoken thing, like, in our own house where it's like, okay, dad comes downstairs and we're all, like,
there he is.
Go to our rooms, I guess. Like, it's just, like, awkward. And then it's, like, we go to dinner at Grandpa's house and we all act like nothing's happening still. Like, it's just a weird thing. But at the time, I didn't know anything about anything else.
So,
when...
a lot. So, when did you kind of start to notice, like, when did you find out about your dad?
About my dad? That was, like, probably 2022. I was, like, on a family vacation. My dad actually wasn't there, and I, like, saw a notification pop up on my mom's iPad, and I saw her text, and it was, like, something about, it was, like, kind of, like, encoded language, something about, like, C and something else, and I was, like, this sounds weird. Yeah, and so I was, like, okay, and I'm a little bit nosy, so I was, like, okay, let me look into this a little bit, and that's when I found out, was, like, 2022.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, and I kept it to myself for like a long time. I was like I kind of had suspicions because my mom said something to me once, like that she and Catherine were not getting along or something. And I was like, that's weird. Like my mom gets along with everyone.
Yeah. You're like,
she's
mom's
so
the sweetest person ever.
Yeah. I was like, she doesn't have beef with one person. So like
something must be
a
really
bit
bad.
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I asked her about it and I was like, is something going on with Dad and Catherine? And she was like, she just was kind of like, I can't talk about this right now. I was like, okay. So I was like kind of connecting the dots. I pretty much, I think I already knew. I just didn't have like hard proof.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that, I was like, okay.
Yep.
This is happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. So do you have an idea of how long your mom knew?
She knew way back, like for a long time. Because I think I was still in middle school. So I was in like,
whoa,
we were in our old house. So I was probably like.
So this has been going on for years and years and years
like
and years.
7th grade, maybe.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So it was a long spanned thing. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that is so intense.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Oh, so that just adds so many layers to everything that was.
Hug you. Like that's horrible.
No, it is horrible. And then, on top of that, just adding those layers to the already dysfunctional family dynamics takes it to like a whole nother level.
Yeah. And I didn't even know that it was dysfunctional at the time. I was
Right,
just
yeah.
like,
It's family.
She's like,
this
wow,
is
that's
just how
weird.
we've always done things, I guess.
Totally. Yeah, because you no other like grid for anything else.
Yeah, and my mom's family doesn't live here, so it's like this is the only family we have.
Right. You're like, all right, here we are. Holy moly.
My gosh.
Yeah. No, that's fair. No, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Yeah. So when everything kind of hit in last October, you already knew about your dad at that point.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So what, like, that would have been so intense. What was that like for you?
That was like the worst part of pretty much all of it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had zero clue. Like,
Really?
not a single clue.
Wow.
Which I think, I guess, kind of speaks to, like, I didn't really know him that much. Like, I didn't know him at all, really. And so I was like, not a single thought in my mind about it. Like, I did not have any idea.
Holy
so I was going on the fall retreat, and the night before
no!
Yeah.
Which was the same weekend the allegations kind of officially broke.
Yeah, and so the night before I'm supposed to leave, it's like midnight. I'm like packing my stuff to go, and my mom is like, me and my mom were like really close, and we still are really close, but like we were talking about everything because it was like, okay, now we're talking. We need to talk about things, And so, she was like, I've been hearing some things. Like, I just want you to know that there's like some allegations going on against Grandpa, and she's like, I don't know if it's true. We don't really know anything. Like, she didn't know anything either. So we were both just like, she's like, I don't know if there's any like truth to it, but
it's bad.
We don't know what's gonna happen with this. And I was like, okay. And it was kind of just like, I didn't think anything would happen like next 24 hours. Right. So I was like, I guess we'll just like see what happens.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. And so
so you were at the fall retreat.
I was at the fall retreat.
Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. So stressed.
Yeah. And so I kind of like put it to the side. Like, in my brain, it wasn't like a big thing, because I was like,
it's like,
I was like, well, I
nothing.
guess we'll see, but like I don't know.
Did you like kind of have a feeling of like, I could see him being a little sneaky or whatever?
Yeah. My first thought was like, my brain was just boggled, because I was like, there's no way. But then I was also like, subconsciously, I was like, but that might make sense. Up. Yeah. I was
like, my dad's kind of doing the same thing.
This would make sense why Grandpa would be ignoring Dad's thing then. Yes. And so I was like, I could see something maybe. I was like, I don't know if it's necessarily sexual assault or like what is going on, but maybe something's there.
Yeah.
So backing up a little bit, you saw your grandfather's inaction about your dad's affair.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because that, I mean, for so many people was so mind-boggling before October. Like, why is nobody doing anything about this?
Nobody. Not even just my own family. Like, there were so many people that knew, and were just like,
bummer.
Sorry.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. Like, nobody said anything to me about it. It was just like, but when I found out how many people knew for how long, I was like, hello. Like, you have like 3 like young kids in this house, and you're like thinking that's okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh yeah. My God.
That's kind of when some people started coming to our house church, and my dad was starting to hear things, and he's like, what in heaven's name is happening?
Yeah.
That nothing was being done.
Yeah.
So you saw the inaction of your grandfather and everybody else. Mm-hmm. So that probably helped you have a little bit more understanding. Like, oh, yeah, I could see all these allegations being true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it also explains his inaction.
Yeah.
Like, 100% explains it.
Yeah. So in my brain, I was like, man, I like really hope that this is not like true.
Right.
But
yeah, because you're like, it's my grandpa.
But I had that gut feeling that was like, something's there.
Something is very there.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
So what, like, you know, October, was it 24th, whatever, that like Friday staff meeting that will go down in history.
I think my favorite staff meeting ever.
Yeah, right?
I wasn't there, but I loved that video that came out.
Yeah.
So hold on, because you're at the retreat.
Yeah.
So are you seeing any of this? Because I know, like, at the retreat, the internet's pretty spotty.
I didn't know anything. So
Stop.
yeah, I didn't know anything. So what happened is I was like, I was walking outside and the youth pastor pulled me aside and was like, I don't know what you know, but in about 20 minutes, there's going to be an announcement to all the other leaders about these allegations against your grandpa. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I had no idea.
So you got a 20 minute head
Yeah,
up.
20
Heads
minutes.
up.
You can be in the room or you don't have to. It's up to you. And I was like, I was literally in shock. I was like, hyperventilating, like freaking out. And I was like, I mean, at the time, like all of my friends were the other leaders. And I was like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're about to tell all of these other people about this thing. And like, I don't even know anything about it.
Yeah. And you don't know what the thing is.
Right. There's no time to like think about things or like there's just no time to process. It's like everyone's eyes are going to be on you and everyone else is going to know now, right now. So decide if you want to be in the room or not. And my little brother was there.
No.
Yeah. My little brother was in the retreat. And I was like, I was like, I cannot let him hear this from somebody else. So I found him and I told him, this is what's going on. You're probably going to hear some things.
You're a good sister.
And it was just like, okay,
here we go.
Gosh, that's
Yeah.
so hard.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Shiloh,
that's
I'm
so hard.
sorry.
Yeah,
That's
it's crazy.
horrible because it makes it worse and worse.
Yeah, I was just in like a total state of panic. I was like,
because I know that the youth pastor at the time didn't really know anything.
no, nobody
knew anything.
Nobody
She
knew.
was told the same way.
Yeah.
Kind of like a, hey, by the way.
Yeah.
And you have to like make this announcement and make it known. And da-da-da. So I can't imagine. Holy cow. So did you go? Yeah.
No, I was like in hysterics. Yeah, I just like sat outside. I was just like, well, don't know what to do right now, but yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So intense.
This makes me so mad because now I'm putting more pieces together because I've heard this story from other people's perspective. Yeah. So, okay. So then did anyone approach to you after like and be like, oh my God, are you okay?
A couple people were just like, you know, like pat on the back, like, you know, it was like that kind of thing. But yeah, I was like the rest of the other, like, I don't know how many days were after that, like 2. I was like, so like, I feel like I wasn't even there. I was like, so gone. Like I was like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
If I would have known you were there, I would have like driven up or called you.
I know. My mom was like, I'll come get you right now. I was like, it's fine.
You're like, it's fine.
It is what it is
like,
now.
In
like,
world here or there, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's so intense.
Wow. Okay. So that's how you kind of find out. So when did the whole thing become a little bit clearer for you? Like finding out details of things or putting pieces together more, I guess I should say. Because I feel like it's been a continual like, oh, and this.
Yeah. It's a never ending. Yeah. I don't know. It all kind of like blurs together for me. Like I can't remember the exact like timeline of when things came out. I just remember like seeing like one person after another. I was like on Facebook like probably 8 hours a day and I was just like, oh, this is a lot. Like there's too many people saying something for this to not be true.
Yep. Yep.
And there's too many like people that I knew personally that I was like, no.
Yeah.
They're not lying.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen things.
Yeah.
I know. So then was it like boldness? Was it, I am so cussing done with this that you just went to Facebook about, what's her name?
Catherine?
Yeah, I always call her Homegirl Schlesinger.
That must have been the first week. I was actually, this was not on purpose. I was in Spain that weekend.
Well, that's good for you.
Yeah, you're like,
I was happy for you.
I was like really happy for her and then also being like, dang, I really want to be there.
It was amazing. But I remember I was still on social media at that point. I went off social media shortly after because I was like, I cannot handle this.
Yeah.
But there was a few posts that you made both on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, that were so articulate.
Oh, thank you.
That I was like,
so good.
Shiloh Bickle's like tearing it down over here. Because I think you were the first person I saw that started reading Something's Not Right by Wade Mullins.
Yeah.
And that book is phenomenal.
Oh, it's so good.
So I think you were the first person I saw that started quoting that. And I was like, this is exactly what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, you kind of did this post on Facebook about Catherine Schlesinger, and it was like the highlight of my year reading that.
Yeah.
So what kind of prompted you to go that route, like on social media?
It wasn't my original plan, but then I was on my phone and I was in the kitchen with my mom, and I was scrolling on Facebook and her post popped up, and I was like,
do you want to give a little context to what her post was in case?
Yeah, so Catherine was the woman that my dad had been having an affair with for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also like
there's a lot of questions about her.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. She's not a good woman, but she had been like painting out her ex-husband to be this like abusive, like just absolutely ridiculous when she was cheating with my dad.
Yeah. And this guy's actually like a saint. Like he's literally one of the nicest men ever.
Yeah.
Great, excellent father.
Yeah.
Super incredible man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I could say a lot of things about Catherine and my dad, but I saw her post pop up and I was sitting with my mom and she was like, I watched her read it and I was just like, I like am so angry for, not even for like myself. I was just like, I'm so angry that she can like do this to my mom and to Mark. Like, and I just was like, she's not going to do anything because she can't, like she can't, and neither can Mark. Yeah. And so I think just her boldness to post that was just like such a slap in the face.
Oh yeah.
And so, when I read it, like she was calling Mark a manipulator, a gaslighter, a bully.
That is
abusive. And I was like, I was like sick to my stomach. I was like, this is just
farthest thing from the truth.
Terrible. And so I was like, I have to say something. Like, I don't think I will be okay if I don't say something like right now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I posted and I was like, you know, if you're going to tell the story, then go ahead and tell the story, but let's not like leave out the real parts of it. And then she deleted her post and whatever.
Yeah. No, I read that and I was like, get him, Shiloh, go!
What I loved was you post that, and then Mariah just in the comments, just like, that's where the firecracker
just
came
like
out.
Blowing
out. We were like going back and forth.
No, that was, I don't know, that was such a great moment for me just to see that. And that you were able to use your voice to go, I need to like shed some light on what's actually going on here.
Yeah.
Because this person's lying. And
I was just like, it is like, she was, in my opinion, I was like, she is so out of control that like, if you're going to post something on a public platform, like how, like, do you think nobody is like paying attention? Like she has no limits on her. Like she's just going to do whatever she wants because she thinks she has no repercussions. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yep. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's really shocking how many times people have posted like stuff like that and thinking, do you not know there's a comment section?
Right.
Like there's a post that someone who will remain nameless posted, I think in March. And he just had to keep deleting comments. And then people would screenshot
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And like 300 comments. I'm like, do you not know how the internet works?
Yeah,
like
and it's like, you posted this for the public. You do understand that, right?
Like, you're like, you can't control the narrative there, buddy.
No. Yeah, that was, oof. Yeah.
I love how we're all just like reliving things in our minds. Like, oh my God, that just happened.
I know.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Dang.
So since, I think this probably, like your extended family, that dynamic has probably been slowly being corroded for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's now like, I'm guessing you probably didn't all have Thanksgiving together.
Oh, no. Yeah. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So there's definitely a divide.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just you and your siblings and your mom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's really hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
so when was the last time that you like near October of last year, did you guys have a family anything in that time?
By the time that like that had happened, me and my sister had already kind of been like, okay, like
we're out.
Yeah, we're kind of done with this. But like every now and then we like tough it out for like an hour or something because it was just like
You're like, okay, we'll do it for family.
Yeah,
whatever.
we're like, we just got to get it over with so then we can not have to deal with this. But by the time October, we were all like, I haven't been to their house in, over a year, obviously.
Please don't. Yeah. That's crazy. Crazy.
That is crazy.
So no one like reaches out, talks to you?
I talk to my grandma still a little bit. I'm still holding out hope for her.
Yeah.
But I haven't talked to anybody else. So like when I had actually posted that post that I made, like my family members, some of them were like sending me crazy messages.
Oh, I bet.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like calling me like 50 times, delete your post. Like,
wow.
Oh my god.
I had somebody tell me like, you're gonna be the reason like that grandpa goes to jail, like crazy stuff.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And so my mom was like, had messaged that person and was like, do not text my daughter again.
Yeah. Like,
and I blocked it and it was done. But
Oh my god.
I haven't talked to any of them since October. So
wow.
yeah.
What's been heartbreaking to watch is the lack of compassion and outreach from that side of the fence to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jane Doe,
Yeah.
Tammy TH, like all the
Your mom.
the victims, but then also your family, like the complete. They act like they've just forgotten.
Yeah.
And like
Not
no
even
one
it
has
never
reached out.
happened.
Nobody has apologized for anything. And that is appalling.
Yeah.
Like the complete it's a lack of compassion really and empathy.
Absolutely.
And really horrible.
Well, not
to
even
watch.
an apology, like just even acknowledgement of
That's
like,
what I was
the
about to
truth.
say. Even acknowledgement.
Yeah. Because I'm like, if I were in anyone's shoes and someone apologized to me, I'd be like, bullcrap. I'm like, I don't believe you. Like, but the lack of even acknowledgement of like
This happened.
actual, actual things that happened, and not just like, my bad.
Yeah.
But like being like, no, like all of this is true. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. It's crazy.
And it's even crazier. Like that in itself should be crazy enough. But then there's like, I mean, like I had family members that were like, you know that we care about you, and you know that blah 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 blah.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, you haven't talked to me, and you haven't done anything to show that you care about me, and now you care. Which I'm sure was the same with other people. It's like,
oh yeah,
we just have your best interest in mind. We're trying to help you. You know we care about you. And it's like,
no, you don't.
no.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
so intense.
So would you say that like everyone else, extended family wise, is all into the narrative that grandpa has written, except for like pretty much your mom and siblings?
I think there's a few people that are starting to question things.
Okay.
So I hope that they can reach a point where they start to see things clearly. But I feel like my mom and us kids were lucky because we had this whole thing with dad where we're like, this is weird. This is wrong. And
Next
so,
level.
we were already seeing like, okay, we were already seeing the really negative things. And so when this happened, it was like, okay, we're familiar with this already. Like, and I think other people weren't super like, they didn't have that, like didn't see the situation the same way that we had been seeing it. And so I think we just had like
talked about it.
right.
So the first person to talk has to be truth because there's nothing else.
Mm-hmm. And so I think it is a weird like delusion, like,
yes, that's to say it.
Yeah, it's just like a totally like weird state of mind, like they can't think for themselves or something. I don't know.
And I feel like what I've heard like Mike talk about on a platform about what's so important to him is loyalty. Loyalty.
Lord, yeah.
The loyalty that he talked about and praised others for demonstrating wasn't really loyalty. It's more like a blind following.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like my mom was at this, she went to someone's birthday party in October and Mike was there and all the who's who of IHOP were there. And Mike was praising someone and saying, you guys are so loyal. You have like the loyalty of the Candlers. And when I heard that, I was like, that's not loyalty.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very sick and twisted definition of loyalty. And from what I've heard and observed, that's the Bickle bloodline.
Yeah.
Is that?
But not you, baby.
Yeah. You guys are out. You got it.
Dodge one. Yeah. No, for real. Yeah. And it's like, it is a really weird, like, I was kind of scared. I was like, I don't know, like, what lengths
People are going to go.
Yeah. I'm like, this is scaring me.
Yeah.
You guys are scary.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even getting called and those texts that you mentioned earlier, that would be terrifying.
Yeah. And it is like, it's like you're in or you're out. Like, there is no in between. And IHOP is the same way. It's like, it's like, oh, you have a question?
Bye.
Get out. Yeah.
Bye. Yeah.
And it's like, it's just, there's no room to like have a different opinion or like to ask a question.
Or
it's
a healthy
like,
dialogue.
It's like you either buy in 100% or like you're not with us and we're against you.
Yeah.
And we're going to tell everyone you're offended.
Yes.
So
yeah.
stupid.
You're not a Christian anymore. You've church her. Like,
Yeah.
what?
You're like, no. No.
Yes.
Dang, that's insane. I'm really like, I'm so not really like shocked because I've always like, I feel like you've always been a free thinker, at least as long as I've known you.
Yeah.
But I'm just also just so relieved. I'm like, dang, Shiloh got out, man. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And like, I hope it's okay to say this, but it's like, man, it really is like you were willing to actually look at life.
Yeah.
And
ask
like
questions.
fought for that. Sorry, my dog just like walked in.
Milo, no.
And so like, but it's the beauty of like, as painful as it is, now you get to walk in freedom.
Yeah.
Because you pressed in and we're honest with the Lord, like, God, I think this is jacked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like that balance. But I'm just so relieved. Like, just talk. I could cry. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
That, and I know that it's still messy and there's things.
Yeah.
But you've made it out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I kind of want to shift gears a little bit to like growing up. I'm rethinking now all these memories, but I had such positive memories with your grandfather.
Yeah.
He had this thing that if you lost a tooth and you brought it to him, he'd give you $20, you know, the little treasure chest with your tooth. He gave us so much money over the years.
It was a lot of money.
And he had a box in his office full of candy and $1 bills. I would always take office supplies. Ann House would give me his office supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had all these positive-ish memories that are, you know, we're now kind of going like, well, actually that was kind of weird.
Yeah, kind of predatorial.
Yeah.
A little odd now looking back.
Weird.
But a lot of the, you know, quote unquote leaders' kids had experiences like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've since heard that he would give even more attention to those kids than his own grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to
Yeah.
touch that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I've always thought it was like kind of weird. Like, I didn't really think too much about it. I was just like, he must just be like really busy or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, yeah, he didn't know any of us kids like at all. Like, I don't think he could tell you like your name, what grade you're in, but like he didn't know anything about like what we were doing or like, I mean, literally he was like a stranger to me. Like, I was like, I see you a couple times, you know, a year, you like give me money and whatever, I give you a hug and that's like it. And so like, yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I knew him at all. And I always thought it was weird, but I wasn't really paying attention to like what he was doing. I was just like, okay, I guess it's just like how it is when your like grandpa's busy all the time.
Wow.
But I remember my mom used to get super pissed off about it because she'd be like, why does he like not invest in you guys at all? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, like,
I don't know. And she was probably noticing like, okay,
I'm sure,
yeah.
Because she's smart.
Yeah, she's smart. Yeah,
she's smart.
I mean,
Dang.
before we moved to Brazil in 2013, he took me and my siblings out. The Western Sis had closed. So we went to the Applebee's.
Yeah.
Yep.
And every time we'd, you know, come back to visit, like, he'd always make time and ask us really good questions and all this, but he didn't actually even make that effort to his own grandchildren.
No, yeah.
And
no, he did a driving lesson with me.
He taught you how to parallel park and use Brian Kim as a human cone.
Oh yeah, that I I remember being like, can we not use Brian? Because I don't want to hit him. I was terrified. And Mike's like, no, now stand there and don't move. And I was like, I remember being in the driver's seat, like, oh my God, please, Lord,
I'm going to kill somebody today.
Yeah, I'm like,
in the Dollar General parking lot. Yeah, there's so much. Sorry, Brian. I think you're fine. She didn't hit you. Yeah. But there's just, I mean, there's so many layers to that. And I think his affection was helping to seed that narrative, you know, the most godly man you've ever met.
Yeah, for sure.
Because why would I question? He was so kind to me. There's no way he could have done these things. But, I mean, I believed
That's how you get them.
Pretty quick. But that would have been just painful.
Yeah.
As his own grandchild.
Yeah.
To be received like that.
Mm-hmm.
Were you ever like, was there ever a moment of like, because in my head, I'm like, I would be jealous of other kids getting this affection and attention and like all this. Did you ever have moments of that? Or was it just so like, whatever that?
I don't think I really ever felt that way. I don't think, like, I just wasn't really aware, I guess. I didn't really know that was going on, so.
That's fair.
When I think about it now, I'm like, really, dude?
Yeah, you're like, really?
Seriously?
Yet another way?
Yeah. Because, you know, he'd always show up to this ATC summer camp to, like, throw the football and then make his grandkids look cute by giving him a hug and then leaving.
That's my granddaughter over there. Hey, you know, whatever, that's it. Yeah. But,
dang,
yeah,
so
I mean,
and free PR.
I think it was like a weird thing with him because, and I listened to your guys' other podcasts and you guys said this and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Like he just like the way that he would use money for things.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I always felt like, okay, he's kind of like, I never would say this like consciously, but like subconsciously I was like, he's kind of like paying me for the like grandpa that he's not being. Like he's gonna give me money and like that makes it okay because whatever, he's gonna pay for my trip or whatever it is. And that's like his well, you know, I give you money all the time, right? Like, and in my brain I was almost like, okay, pay up.
Let's go. You're like, fine, let's go, let's make a couple $1,000 right here, right now.
Like, I was like, well, I mean
and we got a lot of money.
I mean, no, I had a friend
and I'm not giving it back.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I had a friend that he was like, Sydney, I have to tell you something. And I was like, and you know, I just keep assuming the worst thing because the worst thing keeps becoming reality.
I know, right?
And so I kind of
anything's possible.
Yeah, I'm literally like, what? Did you kill somebody? Like, I don't know. And he's like, Mike Bickle paid for my tattoo. And I was like, what? and I was like, I don't understand. And he was like, yeah, I was in the prayer room one night and I was really like struggling, wondering if I should like leave, which in hindsight I'm like, you should have left. But like, you know, he's like questioning and Mike walks up to him to kind of like encourage him, kind of just like stick around, you know, you're doing great, and hands him, he's like, I know that like being a missionary is hard, and hands him like a huge wad of cash. And he's like,
because he just always had a lot of cash on him, which is
like
odd.
Like a lot. lot. And like does, you know, the like Pentecostal high five kind of thing.
Yeah. And
he's like, just spin it on whatever you want. And so this guy turns around and he's like, well, I've been wanting a tattoo. But like over $1,000.
Yeah.
And it's like,
what do you get, the IHOP logo or something?
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Oh God.
Well,
getting that one removed.
That did that.
Yeah, and now they're trying to figure out how to get rid of it.
I hope so. Ugh. But yeah, like money thing is so weird. So, but hey, at least he made some money.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, there you go. If only we knew.
If only we knew. Yeah.
Gosh.
So how has just this past, 18 months, or for you with your dad even longer, like how has this affected your relationship with the Lord?
Oh, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it took me a long time. Like, I feel like I will be untangling this for my entire life. Mm-hmm. Like, I just don't see an end in sight. Like, I am constantly, like, having new questions. Like, I feel like I question everything. Like, things that, which like, I thought, which is good. But, like, things that I thought were, like, bottom, like, foundational level true. I'm like, I don't even know if that's true. Like, it's just so many questions. But it's been weird for me because I went on a trip actually like right after that whole thing with one of my really good friends, and she like went to a bunch of like church events and stuff, and so I went with her, and I wasn't really thinking anything of it.
Like on the trip?
Yeah,
Okay.
like she was like involved a lot in their local church and whatever, and so I'd just go with her, and I was like sitting in the room, and I'm like, why am I like shaking right now? Like, I don't know what's going on, but like I feel like sick. And so I was like finding myself like looking for every reason to like go step outside. Like I would like be like, I need to call my mom. Like I'd call my mom and just like talk to her on the phone for like ever, like hours, because I was just like, I don't know why, but like I can't sit in that room right now. And I still feel that way. Like, it's hard for me to, I've tried to like go to a couple of churches, but like I go sit in the church and I'm like, I cannot be in this room. Like, I just feel like I have so much, like, I don't know, like everything I'm watching, I'm like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Like, so much like distrust, especially in the church. And like, it's not even just IHOP. Like, there's so many churches popping up and these stories popping up. And I'm like, the church is a scary place right now. That kind of church. Not that all churches are like that, but the big like mega church, like the system of it is just like scary to me. And so
when there's no accountability and no real structure, and it's just like a breeding ground for dysfunction and like lying, and just like it's just the system is set up in such a way that like everything just works together in the worst way possible. Like and so I just, every church that I go to, I've just like had a really hard time being there. And so I still believe in God. I'm still a Christian. But like the way that I've gone about things has changed a lot. My perspective on things, almost everything has changed. Like I feel like I look back at like the way that I thought about things and perceived things like a year ago, and it's like I feel like I'm a completely different person. Like I can't believe the things I thought, and I'm like, wow, like I was so close-minded and like judgmental. And I feel like now I'm like, I know that God is real and like I believe his word, but like I'm definitely not going to be the person to be like, you know, you're a sinner, like get out, like that kind of thing that I feel like I used to kind of participate in, of being like self-righteous attitude.
Being super like judgmental. I'm just like, I don't want to do that anymore. And like it's not,
which is so good. Like that's awesome. Like that is like, Jesus isn't judgmental. Like you know, like he calls a spade, but he's not like he
had lunch with tax collectors and prostitutes.
That's his heart, you know.
And it's for me is like God isn't even just like in church. Like he's everywhere. Like you can meet him anywhere. And he's all like, he's in when you're driving to work or when you're, you know, whatever, hanging out with your family. Like he's just everywhere all the time. And it doesn't have to only be like in church. And so, I don't know. I still have a hard time, like even sometimes being around, like I have some friends that are like really religious people and they say things and I'm like, I just want to smack you right now.
You're like,
like, don't say that. It's just like those, you know, kind of like religious things that everyone throws out. That's like, you know,
a Band-Aid.
Oh, totally.
A Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
Yes. Oh, 100%. No, I had someone like recently in the past couple weeks approach me, and it was a really weird situation, but basically like demanding a prophetic word. And same thing of like my, I started shaking and like feeling really anxious and like,
I will give you no such thing.
And then I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this way because this was my childhood. And like, and the church that I'm at now, that's not the case at all. Like it is so polar opposite in good ways, from like what we all grew up in. And so it almost was this like snap in the face of like what it used to be like. And I was like, oh, I can never go back to this. Like, and I get the like, and what I love is you pushing for, I don't want to be like a judgmental judgy, because that was like literally IHOP's culture. And I love that you're able to like look at it and call it what it is. Instead of like that was just interesting. You know what I mean? Because I think there's like so much freedom in actually calling something what it is.
Oh my gosh.
And
yes, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
because there's so much
crazy feeling
confusion.
away.
That's exactly what I was going to say. There's so much like, I was trying to explain to my mom a while ago. It was like, it's like IHOP is so wordy. Like,
yes.
everything's just like word salad. Like, I'm like, you just said a lot of things and I literally could not tell you what you just said to me. Like, I just feel really confused. I feel stupid. Like, I don't get this. But yeah, just like saying things as they are removes all of that like confusion fog. And you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
It's really not that hard to just like say things how they are. Like,
oh,
it doesn't have to be all like complicated and wordy and whatever.
Yeah. No, and it's like the Bible is made for all people.
Yeah.
It's not this like specific select people that are gonna save
the Navy SEALs of the body of Christ.
Yeah, it's like no, like Jesus came for your average Joe that like smokes pot and chills on his like porch and you know what I mean? Like the Bible is for him as much as it is for like some person that went to like seminary and loves Greek.
Yeah.
Greek. I don't know why I went to like because all
biblical Greek like
that's what I was thinking of. I was like thinking of a certain person that is taking all these classes and they were talking about how it's a lot and that's where my brain went. But no, it's
that's a really good way of putting it. So what are some resources that have been helpful for you just this past year, like books, podcasts?
Yeah.
What's been kind of a lifeline for you? Detangling all this stuff.
There's this one podcast. It's called The Place We Find Ourselves. I don't know if you guys have listened to that. Yeah, it's so good. But he's like a therapist and he talks about trauma and abuse and how it affects like your mind and how to recover from all that. And that has been super helpful to me because he'll say things and I'm like, oh my God, that's what that was.
Yeah, you're like, oh wow.
I didn't know the word for it, but that was it.
Yeah.
So that has been really helpful. Brene Brown, Wade Mullen.
Yep.
All of their stuff is really good. Yeah. Therapy.
Yeah. We're huge believers.
We love therapy.
I said therapy and even just like talking about it. Like I feel like for so long I was like so conditioned, like we like don't talk. And now like the more that I talk, the more that I'm able to, it's like you put it in front of you and you're like, okay, this is not so like complicated, but just like talking to people, like
getting out of your own head.
Yes. Or like when you think of something or a feeling comes up, just being like, why do I feel that? Like it's just a really weird like detangling process because it's so embedded in like everything, the thoughts you have, like the emotions you have. It's just it's every day. It's like a constant thing of like trying to untangle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's possible. I think people just think at it and it's like, oh, it has to be done really quick. And it's like, no, it's a process. Like, because it's like our lives have grown up in messy. And it's going to take our lives, like what you said, like it really is going to take our lives to detangle and get to the truth. And even like parts of the Bible are still hard for me. Yeah. Like, and it makes it awkward sometimes because like I am a pastor, so it's like I gotta push through and I gotta like I gotta figure this out because like I am responsible for what I'm sharing, right? You know, to like people, but at the same time, like there's certain verses I'm just like, I need a break. I'm like I'm gonna go take a walk. You know what I mean? Because it's really hard to take it away from the abuse that we experienced. And be able to look at it and be like, this is what Jesus was actually saying. And, you know what I mean? Like, this is what was actually happening. Yeah. You know?
And I think early on, a group of us were processing about all this stuff. And they were like, there's so much, even biblically, I need to wade through. Like, all the classes I took from Mike or, you know, X, Y, and Z, all these people, like, I have to go through it. And they were feeling the overwhelm of it. And I was starting to go like, oh my gosh, there's so much more than I realized. And then I went, you know what? I'm going to let the Holy Spirit bring up what I need to sift through when I need to sift through it. Yeah. Like, it's literally a lifetime of things I've heard, things I've seen. Yeah. I can't do that one by myself. Yeah. Or in like, you know, a coffee date with me for 2 hours. Like it's the Holy Spirit's job to help me do this. Like there's so much. And like,
well, even just taking like a relationship with Holy Spirit, like I was very eerie of even being like, Holy Spirit, let's talk. Like, because I was like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, because like all of my IHOPU classes and all these things, like, I remember one IHOPU class, this teacher was basically like trashing anyone that more wasn't having like a physical manifestation or like
external demonstration,
basically show, and was like throwing people that were more like intellectual and like under the bus. And like I was like, I actually don't think, this is a hot topic here, but like there's a level of like the whole like shake and bake stuff. I'm like, I actually don't fully believe that is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So I was like, Holy Spirit is actually, like, when you read the Bible, like Holy Spirit, it like, I mean, this could be like a whole other thing, but he leads with peace.
Yeah.
He's not chaotic.
He's gentle.
Like Katie Reed said it so well. And I like sat there and cried because it was like, oh, I have to find it really fast. She was like, it's from her Substack, but she like posted it like just a little snippet. And she was basically like, I can go to church now. Oh, can I find it in time?
Basically, did you screenshot it?
I did, but I have so many screenshots that I'm like, I don't know. But she basically was like, I go to church now with my family and I don't associate Holy Spirit with like chaos. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. Like I have associated basically just psycho responses and like people screaming and like whatever with what Holy Spirit is. And now I'm like, no, actually, like it's very different.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think in that, especially that time, like we can say the awakening or IHOPU years, the Holy Spirit was, now I'll say it was blamed for a lot of things that I don't think was the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Or this is how it has to look. This is how it has to be. And I'm like, no, it doesn't.
Yeah. But it's taken me a very long time to get to that place.
Right.
Yeah.
And still is. Like there's certain things where I'm like,
yeah, like we had a church meeting where we were talking about the Trinity. So Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and people's response to even talking about the Holy Spirit was so negative because of IHOP. And I'm like, that's a bummer. Like that's the Lord.
Yeah.
Right.
But like
Jesus is like, it is a gift that I am leaving so that you can have
the
my
Holy Spirit
with you, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
but it's, I think there's just a lot of negative association because of dysfunction and bad teaching.
Yeah.
A little bit, maybe.
Yeah. For sure.
But I've had to read different versions of the Bible. I've had to go like, this passage makes me so angry. But it's the word, so I kind of need to figure this out.
Right.
And reading like the Passion or the Message, which I used to think was not even the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm like,
that's how it's talked about.
Yeah, like don't
this doesn't count.
You dare.
Oh my God.
But now just reading it is so kind of life-giving. It's like, oh, hearing it in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. It's crazy.
So for kind of our last question, is there anything that we haven't touched on or that you want to share that you want people to know about you, your family, this last 18 months to 20 years?
20 years? Oh, gosh.
Your entire life.
Yeah.
A couple things.
Get it, girl.
Well, like, I think one thing that I had to remind myself so much because when I first left, actually, it was really hard because I left literally all my friends, like all of them. Yeah. Like my entire world was like swirled up in IHOP. And so when I left, it was like, I literally felt like I like just like started like day one. Like I'm like, okay, I have no friends. I don't really have any family now. Like I have my siblings and my mom. And that's it. Like this is okay. We're starting over. Yeah. And like just like reminding myself like as heartbreaking, as terrible as it feels to leave, like the loss of all of those friendships and whatever, all the things that you lose when you leave somewhere like that is temporary. Like things get better, but staying in that's permanent. Like you'll be miserable every day.
That's so
and
good.
So I just try to remind myself like, okay, me and my mom were always like, there's life after IHOP. Like, okay, there's more to than just like what we've experienced. And it's like kind of like I think about it sometimes and just feels like, did that even happen? Like it just feels like a fever dream. I'm like, wow. And like at a point in time, it was like so real. Like I was like, to think about how terrible I felt. Like I felt for a while, I was like, I can't even like get out of bed today. Like I was just like, for a couple months, it was like, I am doing the bare minimum to like survive today. It was just like rough. And so just knowing like the times where it feels like literally your like heart's being ripped in half, like it gets better and the pain is temporary and it won't always be that bad. And I think so like what we talked about earlier, you saying like just talking like brings clarity about things, like just getting, like for me it's been such a learning curve to learn to like talk about things, because I feel like I am like, everything in me is like, do not say like I know that you don't like you're feeling upset right now, but like you do not need to go tell somebody like that you feel upset about something. But it's just like a constant
kind of
thing.
Unlearning that.
Yes. And like trusting your own intuition and your own body. Like I feel like IHOP is like such an environment to train you to not trust yourself. Like it's just a weird thing where it's like your body's lying to you. You don't trust your own thoughts. Don't trust your gut feelings. Like you literally pretty much betray yourself entirely. And so like relearning like, okay, when I get when I get like a gut feeling about something, like trust my intuition is not a bad thing. Like this is to help me. And so like learning to listen.
Like
and
literally
like
in our DNA.
And like every church has its own things, but like, you know, it's not a bad thing to, when you see a red flag, to think about the fact like, what else could this mean? Like just taking things as they are and like thinking critically about things is not wrong. And so that's been a thing for me. I'm like, I feel like I'm starting to get my, like, I used to be like really intuitive, and then I felt like when I was in IHOP I kind of lost it, and I was just like, I don't trust myself. And now I'm like, I feel like I'm pretty like,
you're getting back
I know
to that.
like I'm like, no, I know what I think. And like being able to trust my own thoughts and feelings, and like not being afraid to make decisions like without getting other people's input. Like it's just a weird thing.
That's awesome.
I
love that for you. Like that makes me so happy. I'm like, yes. Oh, that's huge. That's huge.
And that's it's a process. But that's something my mom has said a lot, is she, during her years at IHOP, she felt like she had to die to her own discernment. Like her first impression of Mike, this was 1998, they came for Grace Training Center, whatever, was either he's a new believer or he's living a double life, because he has the energy and the passion of a new believer, but he's not. So he must be living a double life. And of course she told her, no. Turns out, yeah.
Dang, that's crazy. Oh, and I think it's really cool just to see even like the little things like you've posted in the past year or so. I think it's just, I love that you've been able to like refine your voice and find confidence. And I know it's like a journey and like that's normal, but like I hate the word inspired because it feels so like cliche and like whatever, but like really like genuinely like I've felt inspired and impacted of just like your boldness of like,
absolutely,
you're like, no, we're gonna call this what it is, and here are some resources on how to heal and stuff. And like it really helped me because I was in a very dark hole, very, very dark hole. And it pushed me to get counseling. And I was like, you know what? I should probably, you know what I mean? Like,
I should probably get to work on this.
Yeah, I should probably reevaluate. And I mean, and it started with, because I started thinking about some of our mutual friends. And people that we were very close with. And realizing like, I'm probably not okay, but I think I am. And so, like, I just want to say thank you for your vulnerability and your honesty.
Absolutely. Like,
through this whole year of just you calling people out as they should be called out, but then also just being like, hey, here's a really good book, and here's this. But then also just, like, here today, because I can't imagine just all that you've been through and what it's cost you.
Literally everything.
But how... you've done it with so much grace And like, and it's very evident, like you're not being the judgy Christian that we grew up with.
Yeah.
And even today, like you could have said so many other things that could really burn people.
Yeah.
And we can pray that they get burned by God. But like,
whoa. We're not telling people to go to hell. We're not telling people to go to hell.
No. I'm just talking about like a little like Psalms 2 judgment, you know? No, but just your, and I'm just going to say, I know that there is pain, but like how you've chosen to walk this season of life out and choosing to look to hope in the future.
Yeah.
Not based off of people, but based off of Jesus and how that's going to work out in the future. You know what I mean? Like, it's really incredible. And I'm just thankful that, like, you did this and you shared. And your voice, like, you carry weight. And it's not just because you're a Bickle, but it's because you've chosen the right path and you've chosen truth. And you've done it time after time after time after time. And I just have so much respect for that.
Oh,
you're amazing.
You guys.
You are amazing.
Yeah. Big fans.
Yes, big fans. All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I'm sure everyone is going to love this episode.
Yeah.
So make sure to subscribe, click that bell. I think
Click
you're
that
supposed to
bell.
like as well. Click that bell. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.